Okay, here we go. This is what we're going to do on day 2 on getting our cups trimmed. So it's really, really important that you wait till day 2 and your cup is leather hard. Please, please, please don't try to do this when it's really wet. It will make your life miserable, and things are a lot easier if you wait till things are leather hard. So the cup is still on the tube. If your cup is not on the tube anymore, you can do everything I'm doing. You just have to be really careful about not collapsing it and keeping it round. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this elephant foot, this flare out that happened here. And you're going to use one of these scrapers. In the real world, the rasp, and here we call it a cheese grater. Come up with some fun names. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to start scraping the sides as I move around the cup. So what I'm doing is I'm being very careful to, I don't know if you can see this, if I can get the angle right here, is to keep this rasp and the wall parallel, because at some point, once I get really elephant foot, I will start cleaning up the sides, and any lumps and bumps and imperfections that you came up with when you formed the cylinder can be taken care of now. One place to pay special attention is the part, I don't know if you can see this. This is where it came together. Here's the seam. So, you know, this usually it's one of the ugliest parts with some parts that need to be cleaned up. So pay attention to that whenever you are scraping the sides of it. You're not going to get it perfect, which is what we want. We don't care if it's perfect. That would be boring. But we are trying to go for a really clean, symmetrical, try to get as clean as you can cup, not laser perfect, built by a 3D printer, that sort of thing perfect. So another reason that I told y'all not to worry about the canvas texture is because this takes care of a lot of it. And when you're scraping with the rasp, you may not get everything, and there might be a couple little dents and bumps and whatnot, and that's okay. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. By the way, all these shavings don't go on the floor or a trash can. They'll go back in the blue bucket in the back corner of the room. That's good clay that we can reclaim and reuse again. All right, so once I feel good about the sides and everything's pretty straight in a 90-degree turn, I'm going to work on the bottom, see if there's anything happening down there that needs to be flattened out, because we really want it to sit nice and flush on the table, so we don't want a weeble wobble pot that's going to fall over. So scrape that smooth with the scraper, with the rasp, the cheese grater. And I go in different directions just so that I don't kind of knock off one edge. Get off camera. All right, there we go. We're back on. All right, so get that done. And then we get a sponge, and it doesn't have to be a small sponge. You can use one of the big sponges for this whole project, just about. But I'm going to add a little bit of moisture, and I'm kind of pushing at the same time. Pushing down, you know, it'll start taking away some of that rough texture that you created when you were scraping it. And then you get the rib of your choice. Flatten this out. If you're not using a rib, I know we're limited stuff in here, but nobody puts anything back. But you know, go around, share, be nice to each other. We're potters. We take care of each other. All right, so I'm going to smooth that out. And you're probably going to have to go back and redo things a couple of times. You think you got the bottom done, but you may come back to it later. So the next thing we want to do is get rid of this 90-degree turn right here, and we're gonna kind of knock off this edge with a stick or a paddle. So these paddles are in the Nicolas cage. It does not have to be this paddle. Anything that could be conceived as a paddle can be used. This is a wedge that's sitting on my rolling cart. I can use that as a paddle if I needed to. There's all kinds of different things in there wooden rulers, paddles like this, different paddles with different handles. You can use almost anything that's a stick with a flat edge. But I'm just going to simply go around and tap. You know, I'm trying to go for like a 45-degree angle. Look, there's that geometry coming out of the classroom into other parts of your life. But I'm really just trying to knock off that sharp corner and try to make it as consistent as I can. Perfect. There's just no way. This is really hard to show you on camera how I'm doing this, but maybe, there we go. So I'm just kind of hitting it like this. And it's not a hard tap, it's just a light tap. If your clay's leather hard, this will work really great. If your clay's super gooey, it's going to move fast and cause a bunch of issues. If your clay got too hard because you weren't spraying it and covering it, it's going to be more likely to crack and break while you're doing this. Alright, so there it is. I'm pretty happy with that. But if you notice, it kind of flared back out again. So this is that whole reworking it a couple of times kind of a thing. So now I'm going to come back with the rasp and just knock off that little flare that was created. And this time I'm going around in a circle because I'm not trying to shave all the sides of it. I'm just trying to get rid of that little tiny flare that I created. While knocking the bevel with the paddles. If I see some spots that I could improve on, I just grab my paddle again and knock it back in there. All right, so there's that. We've got straight sides, a flat bottom, a beveled edge. All right, now we can clean up these sides of the wall. Again, with my sponge, I'm just going to work in little sections. I'm kind of getting it wet, pushing down, and then get my rib of choice. And again, you want to get it smooth. It's not going to be perfect. There's already a little dimple right here. I don't know if y'all can even see that in mine. If it goes away, it goes away. If it doesn't, it's okay. I know y'all are raised to be like everything has to be perfect in your life, but that's a bad illusion. It's not good. Ugh. We just want it smooth. Try to get it as round as possible, but let it have some personality. So this scraping, I'm taking away the rasp texture, I'm taking away any canvas texture that might still be there. And all these little shavings, I don't know if y'all can see, there's little shavings that are out from the rib. That's okay, it'll go away. So while I'm doing this is some things to keep in mind. Remember, this is like we're into a moisture management situation here where we're trying to keep our cup leather hard over time. Some of y'all are gone on all kinds of trips and sicknesses and illnesses and school board this and school board that. So it's important that we still keep it leather hard. I have students that can keep their project leather hard for 4 months. So surely we can keep a cup leather hard for a few days to a week if needed, depending on what you got going. Alright, so got the whole cup done. I am just taking a sponge, not super wet. If it gets super wet, and you wipe it down, it's going to make all the rough parts of the clay come back out. I may need to go back in and kind of re-tap my bevel. Alright, so bottom's clean, smooth, bevel's done, sides are smooth. Alright, one of the last things we need to do before it comes off the PVC is clean up the top, this top edge. And one of the easiest ways to do this is up here at the front. There's these little black strips of tar paper. So I can get a better view of these. These black strips of tar paper. There's 6 of them. We need to always have 6 in the room. And if you notice, there are 6 tables, so 1 per table. And you're going to need a rubber band. Where it is. The rubber bands will be in this little cup at the front of the room. Right now it's full of shavings, but later it'll be full of rubber bands. All right? Not to be shot at each other, not to be, you know, all the stupid little middle school things you're going to want to do. Don't do it. All right? Because then they go away and then you're on your own. But I'm going to take this and I'm going to wrap it around the cup like so, and I'm going to make sure it's really sitting on the ground really well. All right, it's flush here. Now, some of y'all's, there may not be room, there may not be stuff to cut up here, and if that's the case, you can lower it down just a little bit. We can cheat it. I'm not going to get a measurement, some sort of measuring tool out and measure your cup so it's perfectly 3 inches tall. But then you take your fettling knife. You got stuff above the black. All right. I'm just going around. Get the angle right here so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm cutting it off. And I'm trying to keep my. Let's see if I can get this angle. I'm trying to keep my fettling knife perpendicular to the side of the wall. This is not showing up good on the camera, but hopefully you got the idea. So there we are. We have a flat top now for the most part. So one of the last things you want to do while this is all still together like this is, and I gotta get this angle just right, is I'm going to cut a bevel down into the cup. So, and I'm trying to keep the part next to the black tar paper same thickness. So if you notice, the handle of the fettling knife, that's the tool in my right hand, right, is really high up. The yellow part is up, you know, way up in the air. It's not, let me finish this and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's not down here flat, right? It's way up in the air so that I'm creating a bevel. And I just keep going around and try to be as consistent as you can. Don't let your angle change. Try to keep there's a thickness, you'll see it between, there's a thickness right here between the black tar paper and where you cut. Try to keep that as consistent as possible. Alright, so next step, take this off. Where does this go? Back in the blue jar up here. Not shot around the room. Be responsible, be cool. Alright, so now I'm going to take it off the cylinder, and if you can see it, yeah, you can see that beveled edge right there where I cut it down at an angle. What we don't want is straight up, straight across, and then straight back down again. this little beveled edge is going to make drinking out of it a whole lot better. It's going to feel good on your lips. Grab a sponge. It can even be a big old sponge. I'm going to form it into a taco. And I'm going to keep this on the table, a clean table, and I'm going to spin it. If you keep it up in the air, you're probably going to deform something. And I'm just trying to round the edge so it's nice and even, nice and smooth, rounded over, so that when you put your lips to it, it's comfortable and you want to drink out of it. And for the most part, this rim is not going to be perfect. It's not going to be just, it's going to have some undulations where it goes up and down. That's okay. You're not needing to make the world's most perfect cup. All right. So the bottom is smooth. I didn't pick up any gunk on there. If I did, I need to scrape it again and get rid of that. I've got my beveled edge. Where's it at? There it is. A little bit of a beveled edge right here. A straight wall, clean as much as possible. A rounded lip and a beveled edge inside. All right. The inside, don't worry about the inside. You're going to look at it and go, oh, there's parts about it I don't like. When I'm back in class, I will show you how to clean that up if you want to. It's an option. And then one last thing, and if you don't want to do this until you see me do it in person, because it's not going to show up as good on the camera as I know it's not going to, and you're going to be able to see it, we can do this tomorrow in class. But I'm going to take this part of my thumb, this little pad of my thumb, and I'm going to hold the cup as much as I can without deforming it. And I'm going to take that pad and I'm going to knock it into the center of the cup and rotate it and knock it into the center of the cup, so that when I'm done, let's see if I can exaggerate this, so the bottom of the cup is no longer going to be flat, it's going to be concave. This is terrible on the camera, right? So there's a little bit of a dip. One, that's going to keep your cup from being a weeble wobble cup. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a tiny bit. And if you're not sure about this, wait until tomorrow and I'll show you how to do it in person. At this point, you're done for the day. Spray it lightly. Don't soak it. Spray it lightly. Put it in a bag. When you put it in a bag, get rid of as much air as you can. So my advice is, here's my bag. I'm not even putting the thing inside of it. I'm just putting it on top. And then I'm taking all the plastic and gently pushing it inside the cup and trying to get rid of as much air as I can. All right, that's after I've sprayed it a little bit. Somehow you need to put tape and your name on here because all these look alike, and that's not a good thing. So you get that done, life's good. There's going to be 2 cups up here at the front that you can look at. Please be gentle. Set them down gently. All right. These are my cups. Everybody needs to see them in all 3 periods. So be nice. All right. So good luck with it, and I will see you in class when I see you in class.